Can I ask you find people a question?
So
All right, I've asked this like question to like 1,500 people in VR chat over the last year. What is the meaning of life?
Oh, this is too difficult.
Yeah, but like you, dude, you have to ask this question every time you get out of bed. Every time you get out of bed, you ask this question. Like you consider it meaningful to have this conversation right now. You know,
to add some type of entertainment to the day.
entertainment, bro. Entertainment is like a low bar, man. Like, dude, like look at people that have like massive amounts of money. Like they're not. Do they seem contented? You know, like
Not at all.
yeah, bro. So I think there's something better even than that. No, it's what most people ask though, or this is what most people say, Tofu. So I'm not by any means calling you out, boss. Like most people say that.
Don't worry.
But yeah, no, I think the meaning of life is hentai. You know the saddest answer I ever got to this question, what is the meaning of life? I had this like prepubescent voice of a boy. He's like, you know, like that they kind of talk like this. And I asked him, what's the meaning of life? And he says, Pornhub. And I'm like, oh. Oh. Yeah,
Hey, it's the simple things in life, dude. It's the simple things.
it's the simple things. Tell me more, Milk.
Oh, I don't know, man. I kind of. It's kind of.
Is this an intellectual debate?
If I tell you anything.
It's not really a debate, more of a discussion.
100% milk is the best kind of milk.
Croissant, come join us. You sound funny. Come hang out with us, Croissant. I want to hear more from you.
Almond goes pretty hard.
But anyways, keep going, Milk. Keep going.
Can I hang out
Yeah, but if I
too?
keep
Of
on
course.
explaining it, it's not gonna
I can be
simple
funny
anymore.
at times.
I'm
It's
sure
not
you
really
can,
about being
janitor.
simple.
Oh.
Okay, she's about to say. Anybody else have any thoughts on the meaning of life?
69.
I feel like to me it's like to change
Body
the
pillow.
world, or, like to make an impact.
Make an impact. Yeah. Yes. By the way, how do I Misao
Misao, Hime.
Misao Hime? Yeah. So Misa.
Hime.
I'm gonna call you
Yeah, there
me.
you go.
Misa. So
We got tofu and milk here, and a croissant.
Misa.
Just need a vegetable, and the meal will be complete.
I think you're.
And
I
I'm
think.
the janitor that cleans it all up.
Okay, that's very nice, janitor. So Misa, I think
man.
you hit like the nail on the head, right? Like meaning has to have some sort of significance. It has to have some sort of impact, right? But here's the problem.
You're still Quest, okay?
Here's the problem with that though is like in 150 years it'll be as if
Dude,
you
I'm
and I
close.
if there's no answer for death,
just need a link
150
cable.
years from now it'll be as if you and I
Just
never
need it.
existed. Like any impact we had in this world will be totally undone, right? You know, like so I would say there is no meaning to life unless there's an answer for death.
But if you do it for
Dang.
yourself, like, I don't care what people are gonna think about me, like, 100, 200
That was
years later. Like,
Yeah, so that would be kind of
Everything's
hedonism, right? Like just do whatever brings you pleasure till you kick the bucket. But the thing is like it, you know, like here's the thing. Like I remember back in the day, like dude, I was you know, I'm in my 30s, and so like I remember playing the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Right, and you'd play it for the Nintendo Entertainment System, the original NES, and you'd be playing do 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 do, and like because 16 kids had blown in the cartridge, you know, at the Blockbuster, you know, with like soda pop in their mouth and stuff like that. The thing was a lemon, and so at level 4, the thing would freeze up, right, and there was no quick save. There was no quick save. You hit the freaking restart button and you go back to level 1. Do 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 do. Right, and you get to level 4 again, and the thing would, and then you go to your mother and cry, throw the controller on the floor, and like you know temper tantrum. So like, here's my point. Here's my point. Like you didn't even care that you were having fun on levels 1, 2, or 3. It all seemed for nothing because it was all going to freeze at level 4. And that's precisely your existence and mine unless there's an answer for death. By the way, I think there is. So don't be all nihilist on me. I think there is an answer for death.
So are you saying that
That was such a
if you don't know
philosophical
what death
comeback.
is, then
That
you
was like
can't
the
really
deepest thing I've ever
appreciate
heard,
life?
dude.
No, I'm saying unless there is an answer for death, unless there's some sort of persistence to the decisions we make, unless there's some sort of persistence to my impact in this life, to go back to what Misa was saying, there's no meaning, there's no significance to my life. Like whether I'm rude to the barista at Starbucks or not, whether I commit mass genocide or I serve all of the planet, it matters none whatsoever. It changes nothing in the end, right? Because level 4 is the coming, and the whole thing is going to go right. Even if you like make some sort of like long impact, right? The universe itself is going to wind down and eventually end in entropy and heat death, and it's all going to be a big black abyss of nothing. So like nothing that you do will persist given enough time.
You're making me depressed.
But there's an answer. But wait. I'm setting you up with the depressed thing because there's an answer for death, bro. There's an answer for death. So,
Suicide.
no.
Shut up.
So the answer for death is this. Okay. So I would say from biochemistry and from a whole host of other arguments I could present to you that we're here with intention, that were created, right? And I'd be happy to make an argument from biochemistry. If that's true, if it's true that we're here with existence, now that existence could be like God in a classical sense, or it could be the flying spaghetti monster, or we could be seeded by space aliens, or we could be living in a computer simulation. We could be an 8th grade kid's science project on a higher dimensional reality. Go home and make a 3-dimensional universe and populate it with humanoid life. Like we could, so this doesn't require God necessarily in the classical sense, but if we're here with intention, then things like eternal life are eminently possible.
Sea monkeys.
We're just like sea monkeys, Grumpy. Your name really fits you well. You seem like a grumpy croissant. I like it though. I like it. So anyways, so I think so. I would to get back to the original question of the meaning of life. I would assert that the purpose of life is relationships. The most important thing we have in this life are relationships. You're not going to sell somebody you love down the river for a Maserati or a Malibu mansion. The most important thing in this life are
The
relationships.
meaning of life is those booty shorts.
Those booty shorts. All right. So, but here's the thing.
There is no meaning in life.
There's no meaning to life. I would respectfully disagree.
Except for booty
Say
shorts.
there should or should not be meaning. We humans just like to create meaning.
Or maybe there actually is meaning. Because here's the thing. Okay, so we like to create meaning, you said, Hug, but here's the question, why? Like meaning is really freaking important. Like it's more important than food or drink. Here's why. If you're dying of hunger and thirst, you may wish to live but not be able to. The person who has no meaning in their life, they don't even care about food or drink, right? They don't even want to live. You know, guys somewhere in the world right now, guy's got a Colt 45 in his mouth and either wants to pull the trigger or is going to because he has no meaning in life. So I would say like meaning is even more foundational than the capacity to live. You have to want to live before you can even discuss having the capacity to live. So like, why should meaning be so bloody fundamental to my existence if there is no meaning? It's like having like that'd be like having a drive for snarfleflargen. It's just a word I made up. But like, what if you needed hunger? You needed food, water, and snarfleflargen. Like, and you're going around all under the potted plants and under the tables looking for something that doesn't exist. You couldn't have a drive for something that doesn't exist. Right? It'd be illogical for you to develop a drive towards something that there's nothing that exists. And so therefore, since we have a drive toward meaning, I think that points to the fact that there actually is meaning.
Astro, do me a favor. I need you to call for
But anyways, to get back to the original question, I think the most important thing in this life are relationships, and the highest possible.
Why would anyone's
Oh
need
wait,
for life be meaningful?
Can you do that for me?
sorry, say that again, Hugs.
But why would anyone's meaning for life be meaningful?
Well, if it's the meaning of life, right? You know, like
Meaningful to you.
yeah. Well, no, but it doesn't really matter if it's meaningful to you because again, going back to the 150 years thing, like if we're all just entering into the abyss, like you can create your own meaning. Like my meaning is to make a really big smoothie. I want to make the world's biggest. You can certainly ascribe that, but I'd say like it's ultimately meaningless.
Yeah.
You know, whether you do make the world's largest smoothie or not. But I would say this, again, if we're made with intention and there is a
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Since it's only meaningful for you, that means we create meaning and we choose that
Yeah.
there is meaning in life.
so here's the point. I would disagree. I would disagree with that, Hugs, because here's why. If there is a God, and I would say there is, I think we're made, you know, as Augustine said in the 4th century, you have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in thee. I think the meaning of life is found in the one who gave us existence. And I think it's demonstrable that we're here with intention. You know, I could make some arguments if you're interested.
Black cat number 45695. Black cat number 45695. I repeat.
Stop saying that.
Black
Stop
cat
saying that.
45695.
Stop saying it. Stop saying that. Stop
It
saying
runs
that.
away.
Yeah. So T Coops. Oh, by the way, I hope this isn't a problem with anyone. I'm streaming on Twitch. I hope that's okay. You can check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/PastorBrockVR.
I have a
Yeah,
Twitch, I
I
just
went
don't
to the
stream.
church a couple times. I
Oh,
remember
Tofu, that's right,
the-
man.
thing here.
Good to see you, boss. Glad you're here.
Oh.
So I do. By the way, as Tofu said, I am an IRL Christian pastor, and I do church services at 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. You don't have to be a Christian to come. We have got a bunch of atheists and Buddhists and Muslims and a whole host of other people, so you're welcome to come. Even if you want to study Christianity from a purely kind of cultural perspective, you're welcome.
I'm coming.
So yeah, and we have Bible studies 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday as well. So had that earlier.
You back up.
You know, and one of the reasons I'm on here on VR chat is, a lot of people, like, they were never given any reason to believe, like, in God. Like Grandma Schmidt said to them, you should believe in Jesus because you should believe in Jesus, right? Like there was never any kind of like reason or articulation why. And so, like, one of the reasons I'm on VR chat is, it's the Apostle Peter says, always be prepared to give a reason for the hope that lies within you. The word reason there is the Greek word apologia. Apo means from. Logia is where we get the English word logic from. So you might translate it this way. Always be prepared to give a reason from logic for the hope that lies within you. And I think we've failed. We've not been prepared to do that. So I'm trying to give some logical reasons for why we might believe in God's existence.
That's unfortunate.
Hey, what's up, Uncle? So yeah, if you guys have any like objections, like what are you, to quote the 90s pop song, tell me all your thoughts on God. Oh wait.
Big Bang or whatever made us that can't be proven or disproven yet, but I don't believe in religion since it was made by humans.
Well,
If God existed, I'm sure he would have made religion himself and not asked humans to write it.
well, who's to say that? Yeah, I'm coming back up on there now. I just saw that it crashed.
I just walked out of a hostage situation.
Yeah, sorry. By the way, guys, I don't know what's going on tonight. So if the stream crashes, just wait a second.
Yes, I know. I can tell you.
So yeah, so I would say it's a non sequitur, Hugs, that just because human beings are involved in the enterprise of religion doesn't mean that God isn't genuinely involved. I'd say that. Oh, please don't crash. Oh goodness, I thought I was going to crash
The
there.
issue with religion is in the Bible. It says God did intervene at points, for example, flood,
Yeah.
etc. But nowadays it's 1,000 times worse, and God
Yeah,
is
we got new
okay with
people
it.
coming in.
Yeah. I wouldn't say necessarily God's okay with it. So, I mean, but here's the thing: like miracles, by their very definition, are rare, right? Like if it occurred every single day, we would just be as be apathetic towards it as the sunrise, or the currents, or what's the word I'm looking for? The tides. Yeah. So God usually doesn't operate in miraculous form. So I would say, but to get back to your original question, what was the other part of your question? You were talking about, things being bad.
Lag.
Yeah. So so why does God? I mean, this goes back to what's called theodicy. Why does God allow bad things to happen? We could talk about that a little bit more if you'd like, but
Oh, that's not the question.
Okay, good. Tell me more then. Tell me what is the question. The IPD is in
There's a
here
lot of
now.
typing going on, Mr.
Yeah, I know. There's like it's like
I
furious
believe
typing.
Bad things need to happen in order for balance.
Well, yeah, I think there's something to be said about that, Grumpy. I don't think that like bad things need to happen, but there is
Why did God intervene in past, but not today? He caused flood, etc. I don't remember them all.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's a whole host of reasons why. I mean, he didn't oftentimes intervene, right? You know, like you'd have to get to a specific story, like why did God intervene in the flood? We could talk about that specifically, or if you want to talk like why did God intervene in the exodus of the Israelite people from Egypt? Like you have to give me a very specific example, and I could get into the very specific reason why God intervened in there. But I would say the default position for God is to not intervene, not necessarily to come in with like full blast miracles. And the question is why. We could get into why. I've got a good answer for why if you're interested in that.
It died.
Mel, I think it was role play that triggered.
Sorry, I'm having a moment.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, but Croissant, you were saying something before Hug came in here. This is gonna be tough because like Hug's gonna press.
If he gave people free will, why would he intervene in the first place? That's just a break of the whole system.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: is sometimes God allows free will to work its way out, and sometimes intervenes. Right? You were just saying why God. You're arguing out of both sides of your mouth. You can't say what.
Game of Sims 4.
Yeah, I know, right? Why
So
can't?
God is a hypocrite?
No, you're the one that's a hypocrite, right? Because you're arguing out of two sides of your mouth. In the first part, you're saying why doesn't God intervene more? And in this and that second phrase, you were saying, God doesn't intervene. And so, I would say, which should God do? Should he intervene or not intervene?
I think they're saying that he either should continue to or shouldn't at all.
Well, I mean, that's like saying, I'm going to either help my children with their homework all the time or none of the time. Well, sometimes it's good that I help my children with my homework, and other times it's good that they do it themselves. So I would say in my wisdom, I know when to intervene and when not to intervene.
I mean,
I feel like it's the sense of, I'm trying to take care of my baby, and then I'm letting them grow up.
Well, yeah. Well, yes. God's interested in the.
Was a child.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that the reason why God intervened a long time ago is because humanity was young.
So I'm just saying, why does he change his mind? Used to intervene and now doesn't.
Well, when you.
Then he shouldn't at all.
Yeah, but no. Here's the thing. I would.
In past, then it just means people didn't have free will.
No.
Also, people always praise God for stuff people do, and even though people have free will, they thank him.
Okay. Well, hold on, Hug. You can't, dude. You can't shotgun blast me with 6 different objections. We got to go one at a time, back and forth. Okay. So the first thing that you said, the first thing you objected to, is God either should intervene or he doesn't intervene. To which I would say. No, like when you read the scriptures, it looks like on every page God's intervening, right? Well, that's because it's a list of where God intervened. But but if you were to actually look at the entire length of human history, most of the time God is not intervening, at least in a miraculous, supernatural kind of way. For the most part, he's the creator of the natural order, and he allows the natural order to play itself out. Oh boy, let's not crash. Oh, hopefully not crashing there. Anyways, so for the most part, I don't know if I got any of that chopped off, but for the most part, God does not intervene. Sometimes, occasionally, it does. This is not an impartation of free will, right? This is by no means. He does restrict free will. He by like, for example, killing Hitler. But that does not mean that free will does not have its free course of action most of the time. Like I'm saying, like God, I would say through God used natural means to bring about the death of a genocidal maniac named Adolf Hitler, right? He used the 82nd Airborne of the United States to bring that to a close. Or if you want to look at something like more like explicit God intervention, how about
Is it upstairs?
I don't know. How about in the book of Ruth, you have
That's not true, since if he
hold
did that, it just means we don't have free will and is just following
No.
the plan.
Okay, so I don't restrict my children's will, right? They're free to listen to me, to not listen to me, and most of the time that they're free to do as they will. But when they start like kicking their sister or something or biting their sister, I'm going to intervene, right? And so I would say in those instances, I'm not restricting their free will. I mean, I'm stopping. Yeah, exactly. I'm like stopping them in that particular instance. So that doesn't mean they never have free will. I mean, God does put a curb on evil sometimes. Yeah. I mean, this is what happens with,
My mom definitely said that to me at one point or another.
So I wouldn't say that in any way violates free will. It might violate free will for momentarily, right? And all sorts of people violate your free will, right? Like you want to go to the beach and your boss is like you to go to the beach, you're going to get fired, right? So but that doesn't mean that just the fact that there are consequences doesn't mean that there's not free will. Like you really do have a choice. You could say, screw him, I'm going to the beach.
Go to the beach.
Yeah.
Let's go get away.
Yeah, but
You
issue
asked
is
me to
God
be
gave
here.
us free will.
Yes.
Of course you have free will.
Okay.
But
yes.
free will for us is not same as having someone outside controlling that will and saying we still have free will even though he changed our will.
So are you saying because sometimes I intervene with my daughters, they don't have free will? The first question would be this, Hugs. Do you believe we have free will or do we not have free will? Are you a determinist or not a determinist? That'd be the first question because I need to know your position.
No, since I'm talking about God, not humans.
Okay, so do you believe in free will or not? Because there's determinists that even are from a naturalistic perspective, they're determinists. They believe we don't have free will. There are many scientists. In fact, I would say at this point, the majority of scientists are determinists at this point.
It's okay. Oh, I just punched my bureau.
By the way, Hugs, I might need to end this conversation because it's so long the delay in here. So it's kind of, it's not the most.
It's getting longer and longer.
An angel to a human. Angels have no free will, and that's a fact. So of course you
No, they have free will.
Yourself with the angel.
No, angels have free will. This is why Satan was one of his angels and rebelled against him. Satan used his free will to rebel against God. So yes, angels have free will. Or at least had. There's some that say they no longer have free will, but at least at one point they had free will. Oh goodness, long delay.
It's gonna get longer and longer.
I know, as the conversations get like more specific. Yeah, unfortunately, it's gonna be. So while Hugs is saying, I remember looking. Oh, what is that?
Well, there was High Haldeman. That's all I heard. I couldn't hear what.
Okay, so while you're getting that together, T Coops is saying, I remember looking up a YouTube video on the biblical timeline, religion is historic. Looking at each intervention by God, it's pretty sparse, even over a 10,000 year timeline, according to the historical record. Right? There's some debate, of course, on the age of the Earth, but I would say, regardless of where you stand on that, it's rare that God intercedes. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, Mel. Yeah, you want to talk? Yeah, dude, absolutely. We can talk. We can talk in private. Absolutely.
What happened to my finger?
Hey, what's up, Kira? Welcome. Oh, is there some lag?
Hey, what's up?
So, does anybody else have any objections, comments, concerns about or thoughts about God? Let me know. I want to hear what you guys have to think about God.
I have more of a statement / opinion.
Please, I'd love to hear it.
I don't really believe in God in the sense that he's the almighty creator who watches over us and loves us, rather than there being a higher power who just kind of watches.
Yeah, like kind of like a Sims. I think somebody was talking about a Sims 4 or Sims 4D. Yeah.
Hey, shit broke.
What's up, boss?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, man. How are you?
I have that guy muted and I don't remember
I'm
why.
doing good.
They have
Good, I'm so glad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So there was something I was going to say on that. Here's what I was going to say is that is that like, you know, when you go in here in VR chat, I talk to people about religion and philosophy all the time, and then we get like 600 you know, opinions on what God is like. You know, some people will say, have you guys ever seen that what's the name of that YouTube channel? It's like Gazerk or something like that, you know, like
oh yeah,
what's the name of that?
It's the German dude.
Yeah,
He makes the cartoons,
what's the name of it? I'm not pronouncing it correctly.
Because I'll look it up real quick. I have
yeah,
VR
go look it for me for you. So anyways, there's this one video that very popular YouTuber does. It's about this idea that this kind of higher being is trying to experience all sorts of different, you know, portions of reality. And so, you know, it's like this super heady kind of thing. And so some people would say it's just called the egg. We don't really need to get into specifics. What's it again?
My boyfriend who just.
It's Kurzgesagt. It's
Kurzgesagt. Okay.
Kurzgesagt.
Gotcha. So anyways, like, so some people say, just one second, boss. Some people say it's like that egg from that video. Other people say it's this, that, the other. It could be anything. Like for example, Derpy Cat really hasn't talked too much tonight. So Derpy Cat could be an 85-year-old grandmother who smokes Marlboro Red cigarettes and beats her grandchildren with a baseball bat. Or Derpy Cat could be a 5-year-old who got a hold of his dad's VR equipment. Derpy Cat could be anybody or anything until Derpy Cat opens his mouth, and then we should say, no, get away with you with your different ideas of what Derpy Cat is. We should listen to Derpy Cat, right? And so I would say in the same way is if God actually speaks and we have authentication, like we have to have proof. Like a lot of people say, God spoke to me. Like, where's the proof? If there's proof of him speaking, then we should listen to what God has to say about himself and say, not try to impose our ideas of what we think God is like. But anyway, somebody said they had a question to ask. Yeah, go ahead, Roth.
So, do please, I'm not very knowledgeable in, like, religion and everything,
Sure.
I may be very off on this.
No,
Guess you're wearing a crucifix, my brother.
So, if I understand correctly, God made angels and made humans, and he made them all in his own image, right?
Pretty,
Yep, I brought,
sorry, I'm sorry, I was hydrating there for a second. What, God created angels in his image?
Yeah, angels and humans all in his image.
I would say
Like,
human
he
beings.
created them.
Yeah, I would say human beings are made in the
Human
image of
beings,
God. Yeah,
not
not necessarily angels.
Aren't
Yeah.
there like about a bunch of different like versions of what angels could look like and everything?
Yeah, but the image, the image isn't just like the general like anthropomorphic, you know, shape. That's not what it means to be in the image. Like image means to be creative, and it's a long thing. It's a thing. But anyways, keep going.
So if God is omnipotent and like is always watching and like supposedly knows everything, I guess. Again, I don't really know everything.
Sure, yeah, that's
How
right.
would he not know that Lucifer was going to do what he did?
He did
before
know.
He did it.
Yeah, he did know.
He did.
He did. Yeah.
And he just kind of chose to let it play out and just.
Yeah, he
went down.
allowed Satan to choose to rebel against him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a father letting their child decide to do something bad so they can learn from the mistake.
You give them enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
Sorry, what was that again? What was that, Kira?
No, I was just saying it's essentially he just gave him enough rope to hang himself with.
Well, I mean, it's not okay. Like giving enough rope to hang himself. Like the person that's hanging themselves in that classic phrase doesn't really know that they're hanging themselves, right? And so like it's kind of like giving enough rope to hang themselves. You're basically tricking them. But I would say, you know, in that instance, you know, God, Satan knew the ramifications. God had warned Satan, you know, the ramifications. So it wasn't some sort of like, gotcha. You know, like that's why I usually think of when giving enough rope to hang yourself.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, looks like Hugs got something to say. Go ahead, Hugs.
Hugs already said it, but Pastor, I'm like lagging out real badly. I gotta leave, man.
No worries, boss. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, always. I'll try to watch your stream a little later on if I can.
Thanks, boss.
All right, we'll do.
Yeah, but
You just got destroyed.
Any other thoughts, questions, comments, objections, declarations of heresy?
What are your thoughts on reincarnation?
Yeah, great question. So from the Christian perspective, like the body is really important, right? Like Jesus doesn't come back as Casper the Friendly Ghost. He comes back with a body, right? That could be touched, a body that could be could be felt, a body that could be they could eat, right? He eats with the disciples after his resurrection at the end of in John chapter 21.
17.
So they could have, like I would say the body is really important. And we know that as human beings. Like even here in VR, like when someone's really depressed or something like that, what do? We put our arm around them. Right? Like we say, oh, I'm so sorry to see that. Or, like think about all the times your mother kissed your forehead. Think about all the times that your partner, hugged you or kissed you, right? Like all of that is tremendously important, and it happens with the body. So from the Christian perspective, the body is not just some sort of like transportation mechanism for the soul. Like the body is you. You are a part of the body. So what happens, right now, your body and soul, okay? And when you die, your body will go down into the ground, and your soul will go, presumably, if you desire it, at least, your soul will go be up to be with Christ, right? And you'll continue on this way, body and soul separated, but that's not the end, right? You're not Casper the Friendly Ghost for all eternity, right? There will come a point where at the end of all things, the very completion of the cosmos, that Christ will resurrect everyone, not just Christians, but also the condemned, right? He talks about the resurrection unto judgment was it Matthew 26 or something like that? I can't remember but everybody will be raised, and then you'll go on for all eternity, body and soul. So, hey, by the way, thanks so much, Token Streamer. Thank you so much for the follow, man. Glad you're here. Welcome.
So,
hey, I gotta go. Sorry if I keep ghosting you, but friend's been having issues. I gotta go.
Good for you, Cheshire. No, take care of your friend, boss. Thanks for being here. Go ahead, Coca.
Oh, I was saying, so I think the answer is basically yes, just not in the way that most people think of reincarnation. It's more of a one-off thing.
Well, yeah, you might get I would say you're resurrected less than reincarnated. But actually reincarnation's not, I mean, to describe it, I mean, in and of itself, the word reincarnation isn't that bad. So like means to be again, and incarnation means to take on flesh. Like that's what we talk about, Jesus incarnation when he's born. So I mean, from the like the actual words, reincarnatio would be the Latin. So it's from a linguistic sense, yes. But I wouldn't say we believe in reincarnation because again, that word has so many connotations of Eastern. You come back as a dingbat, like all sorts of kinds of those. You come back as a bacterium or something like that. I wouldn't use that.
As a tree frog.
That's right, tree frog. I want to come back as a poison dart frog so I can kill you. So Token says KB ? KJB asterisk ? Sorry, Token, I'm not understanding. I'm not sure what that is, boss. Tell me again. Sorry, it's my Twitch stream. My Twitch stream is going here. By the way, can I put a shameless plug in for my Twitch? If you guys are Twitch people, check me out, twitch.tv/PastorBrockVR. We do every weekday we have Bible studies and stuff like that. Would be honored to have you in our community.
Would you like to provide some feedback?
Yeah, Derpy, please.
Because even if you're not religious, it's really interesting to listen to. I've been here like
what are
last
your
3 Tuesdays
thoughts
now.
on predestination of souls?
Right.
Christians, all that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I would reject what's called double predestination. Is what Calvinists say. Hey, thanks to Gravity, appreciate it, boss. So the Calvinists teach that everybody from the very foundation of the world, before even the cosmos existed, everybody was in either the saved bucket or the damned bucket. And if you're in the damned bucket, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. God actually chose you to be in the damned bucket. And in fact, every sin that you committed, God chose that to happen. Like you have no freedom of will from the Calvinist possession, which I think is just abominable. Well, hopefully you're not a Calvinist, and I didn't call your position abominable. But like from I would say that like it doesn't seem like the condemned are culpable for their sin in such a scenario. That being said, Lutherans believe in what's called single predestination, that it's by God's grace that He illumines our mind to even see the gospel. And it's by His grace that we can even come to know Jesus at all, and I would agree with that. But double predestination, that's going to be a hard no for me.
No, I don't. It's okay. We don't.
Yeah.
That's
but
actually a belief, like that he's just like,
yeah,
you're damned.
You're damned. There's nothing you can do about it. No, there's nothing you can do to change. Yeah.
Everyone look under your chair. You're all.
Yes, Whiskey. That's exactly right. Yeah. See if you. Oprah will give you. Yes. Oprah will give you a free car if you happen to have a red sticker under your chair. Everybody looked. Oh, sorry. You're damned to eternal damnation for no choice of your own. Like, oh boy. That's gonna be a hard no for me.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So from your perspective as being a pastor, do you believe that, let's say, an atheist could get into heaven?
Well, it's interesting you phrase that, like, because I think that has a very Western notion to it, like, or a very, very Western Christian notion to it, right? So, or like a very, very evangelical notion, I would say, probably more specifically, right? Like it's we have to see salvation not in terms of I've got a golden ticket, it's mine, Charlie. Like, I think we think salvation is like a golden ticket into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. And I would say this: do we desire to dwell with God, or do we desire to reject him? Right? Like I would say fundamentally, God is not going to force you into his midst. If you desire to reject him, God will, like you ever ask out a girl and she's like, no, Kira, I'm not going out with you. And then you ask her again and she's like, no, Kira, I'm not going out with you. And then you just have to eventually say, okay. You have to give them over. If they don't want to be with you, you can't like lock them in your basement, right? You have to let them do what they want to do. And so that's what God does, is he doesn't force us into his midst, because that will turn eternal life into San Quentin. Right, like it'll turn eternal life into a prison. So, so I would, So I would say God desire. It says this in the scriptures. God desires all men to be saved and come to the knowledge of the truth. It says in another place, God does not delight in the death of the wicked. But that being said, he doesn't force us into his presence.
Like, for example, hold on, let me deafen real quick. Okay, so for example, we do have to walk up to you, but like, hey.
So I got a question. So Token asks, which Bible do you use? I like all King James version's very good. I use English Standard Version most of all, though. So yeah, my favorite would probably be ESV, or what's also called the NASB. Both of those are pretty good translations. Yeah. But I would say, like, first and foremost is the original Greek New Testament, like the original Greek. Can we go over here, by the way, guys, if you don't mind? Just go over here a little bit. It's a little loud. Oh, that's so much better.
So much quieter.
Oh, yes. PTL. Okay, so what was was there some other question somebody was asking? I think something or saying something or.
Yeah, I just had to curve I don't know if this is off topic or not. So there's a huge lag spike there for me.
Whatever you find interesting, I'm sure other people will find interesting, and so it's not off topic. Fire away.
Well, it's related to what you do, but not what we were talking about.
Oh, okay, sure.
I was just curious. Have you ever done any like work as a pastor
Rain.
outside of America or
Super
anything
grateful,
like that?
man. Thanks for the follow.
I don't know if you'd call that mission work, or is that something else or something like that? I'm not an expert.
Yeah, I have not done a lot of short-term missions. I think like half of my community would disown me if I shared my full opinions on short-term missions, because most people have done short-term missions to like Guatemala or Mexico or someplace. So let me try to say, how can I say this in the most charitable kind way? Let me say it this way. I think you're better off supporting missionaries that are there 24/7 than, like going to a place and saying kind of a patronizing way, oh, look at these poor people. I'm better than you. Like, I think it like breeds a lot of, it can breed a lot of like,
these are starving children.
Just support them. Like, what, you spent $2,000 to go down to Guatemala for the plane ticket. How about you just give an extra $2,000 to the Guatemalans, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be too hypercritical, but I think there's something to be said about, about like, let's support the missionaries that are embedded in there, that are spending all of their time there. That's just my personal opinion. I don't mean to.
They're using it as sort of an actual way to like
Rain bleed,
and not just like Oh, hey, I took like a 2-week vacay to Guatemala.
Whoa, Rainbleed, thank you so much, man, for the Twitch Prime sub, dude. Thank you so much. I'm super grateful for that. You can watch for free. Actually, I'm grateful because it's Jeff Bezos money, so thank you very much. But yeah, no, I think I heard you there, Small. Grateful for that. I think I was tracking with you. Wait, actually, wait. Can you say? Go ahead, Ruth.
So I just have a quick question.
Super grateful. Whoa! Hold on. I got my whoa, Gravity Boo just subscribed with Prime. Whoa, guys, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. So anyways, sorry, I got distracted. Say it again, Wrath. This is like the third time you've had to say it. Third time's a charm. I'm sorry.
What is your view on transgender people?
Yeah, great question. So this is gonna be a long one. Is that okay?
This could make or break your career.
That's right. I mean, everybody may hate me. They may demand that Jeff Bezos gives them back their Twitch Prime subs so they can spend on someone else. Yeah, no. But here's the thing. Well, come with me. First and foremost, let me show you something. Come here. Actually, we're gonna go a little tour here.
Bathroom side.
We're gonna go a little tour here. Okay. So we're in the Black Cat.
Going on a field trip with your church.
Yes. So this is Spooky Ghost Boo. This is Spooky Ghost Boo. She's the creator of Black Cat. She's trans. Okay, she's got the trans flag right there. Okay, now come with me.
I've met them.
All right.
Okay. And so that's that, and that's me.
Where you can kind of just look for someone to.
And then there's a picture of your picture over here.
Yeah, there was a picture of my picture there. So anyways, I think that is justification enough that even if I have a different of opinion on this topic, I love and respect people regardless of their opinions on this. I care and love for you. I want nothing but the best for you, regardless of your opinion on transgender issues. So let me start in saying that. I mean, I think you guys know where I'm going, so I won't pussyfoot around it. So I would hold to traditional Christian ideas of sexual ethics, and I would also hold to the idea that God, ascribes our gender to us, and it's not something that we can change. But again, I love and respect everybody, and I care for you, and the reason I'm on here is only because I love you guys, and I sincerely believe this is the most important, critical, life-altering, life-changing message of Christ. And I don't talk about it. Like, I want to say that the other thing. Like, and if you hadn't asked me about it, Wrath, I wouldn't be talking about it tonight. This is not my favorite topic to talk about. But that being said, you did ask me about it, and I want to be honest and truthful about it. So I would say, our gender is not ours to change. But yeah, so that's maybe a short answer. I could get more into it if you wanted, but I do have a question though that I always ask trans people. But go ahead. I'm cutting you off. Go ahead.
All right. So just from my own perspective, I'm actually a licensed psychologist.
Yeah.
And, from my point of view,
LPC?
Transgender.
What certification? LPC, MSW, MSW, or what's your? You said you're a professional counselor.
I don't. Yeah, I got my PhD in whatever.
In psychology.
A few years back, so I don't really technically remember. But from my understanding of transgender and everything, it's not necessarily like something that you choose. Obviously, it's more so like a brain type thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it's something necessarily that you choose. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's gender dysphoria, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a slight disconnect between the brain and the body when it comes to that kind of thing.
Exactly. I totally agree with that.
From this perspective, would you say that it's, from a moral standpoint or a religious standpoint, wrong, even though it's not technically the fault of the person in general?
Yeah. Great question. Excellent question. Fantastically worded, Kira. So here's the thing. Before I get specifically to transgenderism, let me say this. So I was born with a temper. Like, I put on a good show here because I'm on a Twitch stream and I have to act perfectly good and pastorly, right? But I do have a temper, right? And so I can't, and I especially had a temper younger in my life. By the way, Twitch chat, give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna get to you in just 1 second. I'm trying to answer this question first. But I can't say of my temper, I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way, right? Like, I was born with a really bad temper, but I can't say that just because I was born a particular way, ergo, that's good. Do you know what I mean? And so I do believe that people are born with gender dysphoria. Oh, hey, janitor, I hear some whistling, boss. Sorry. Thank you. So I do believe that people are born with gender dysphoria. That seems perfectly logical to me. And I believe people's experience that they feel that they are born in the wrong gender. My question, and this is perfectly fits into what I was going to go to next. Like, so you have two options as if someone who's experiencing gender dysphoria. And this is what I always ask someone who has gender dysphoria. It could be that your brain is right and your body needs to change, right? This is the opinion of most transgender people, is my brain is telling me the right thing. I am a woman, even though I was born into a man's body. Yeah, and my question is, how do you know it's not the other way around, that your brain is wrong and your body is in fact right? And here's the thing, before you even try to answer that, I would say this, that you can't answer that question unless you can't really definitively like it's among those same questions of, are we really here? Do we really exist or not? Like, so it's a fundamental kind of question, but go ahead. I'm curious how you'd answer it.
So I actually do kind of agree with you on that point. I never really had that perspective about it.
Yeah.
With the way the human mind works, and trust me, it's a whole problem to
no doubt
try and understand it.
No doubt.
I personally believe if you go through all the legal ways to do it, you take your year of therapy, whatever have you, that if you still feel like you're in that same position from your own standpoint, you should be able to do so. Now, again, like you said, it may not be correct either or, but if it makes somebody happy, shouldn't that be enough? Yeah, great question. Yeah. So I would say and that makes perfect sense. Like, Kira, everything you're saying right there is perfectly logically coherent. I think you've phrased it very well. So I would say this from the Christian perspective, though. From the Christian perspective, our life on earth here is actually not about happiness. Like, happiness is fun when you can get it, but the objective of life is not happiness. From the Christian perspective, the objective of life is love towards God and love towards our neighbor. Now, here's the thing. Everybody thinks like, well, don't love and happiness go together like peas and carrots? Like, actually, no, they don't, right? Like, most of the time, the loving thing...
Is just dopamine.
Yeah, well, the loving thing
exactly, it's just a chemical in the brain.
Well, the loving thing is going... Wait, are you saying love is just a chemical in the brain, or happiness is just a chemical in the brain?
No. Happiness is very fleeting. It's just a dopamine release.
Yeah.
It's very different from contentment, which should be pursued.
If you really want to get into it, love is also
right. A lot of people say that. Yeah. Okay. And so I don't disagree with you, Kira, that love is largely manifested in biochemicals. But here's the thing: like, if somebody asks you what is ice skating, and you say to them, it's a low friction environment caused by the steel. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not really sufficient to describe the artistry of a gold medal ice skater. You know what I mean? So I think it's part of it, but it's not the whole thing. So yes, Mel, yes we are. So anyways, to get back to it, so love, I would say this. Actually, love is largely, I would say, fundamentally not an emotion. Right? Like, here's the thing, dude. Like, when my kids are being obnoxious and they're like yelling and screaming, she took the doll, I want the doll, she took the doll. Like, I'm not feeling any I'm not feeling any happy chemicals. I'm feeling a desire to ram my head through the wall. And so, like, but it's actually love when I bite my tongue and say, hey, sweetie, could you please try to keep it down? Daddy loves you. Like when you try to speak sweetly, when you want to ram your fist through a 2x4, like, that's actually greater love. That's greater love than when I am most of the time. I'm just like, oh, I love my girls. Give them a big hug and kisses. Like, it's actually more loving when I'm kind to them in the midst of my frustration than it is when everything's happy. Dude, anybody can be happy to someone when they're happy, or loving to someone when they're happy. What's truly beautiful is when you're loving to someone when you don't feel like it. That's to do what Jesus did, right? Jesus said this, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends, for his beloved. And so, like, we all recognize, this is why every war movie's got a guy jumping on a grenade. Why? Because that's the highest definition of love, to die for another. And so we get to do a little bit of that, just a hair of that, when we bite our tongue when we're frustrated. And boy, do I fail at that. God have mercy on my soul. So yeah. Thoughts, questions, comments? I kind of gave a shotgun blast there.
I'd say you're probably one of the most like relaxed, intelligent people I've ever talked to.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. Thank you though, Kira. Well, I'm honored. I'm honored.
I find your different perspectives quite interesting and kind of a bit changing to my own to an extent.
Well, I'm honored. I'm honored. Yeah. No, I'm grateful. And you know, if you guys ever want to hang out, I'd love to hang out with you. Just send me a friend request. Like I said, I do church services in VR chat 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. So I'd be honored to have you on my friends list. Thanks, Kira. Thanks for that. So hold on, let me catch up on my chat.
Dude.
Oh, thanks, bro. Appreciate that, man. Let me catch on my chat a little bit here. By the way, shameless plug. If you haven't already, check me out, twitch.tv/PastorBrockVR. I'm trying to think. I don't even know where to start. Like, I haven't talked to the chat in so long. Okay, good. I've got some of my mods are kind of helping me out a little bit where I'm not. Uncle Tusky says on the phone. That's lit, to be honest. It's nice that some people can have a chill convo about this topic. Amen. Amen. And this is the thing, like you know, you can say I'm deluded, you can say I'm wrong, you can say I'm misguided, but I think people know just from you can tell from the sincerity of someone's voice that you know, like there's love, and so you can say I'm misguided, but I think people recognize that I'm like sincerely speaking out of love here.
Well, if I may say something, I personally believe that no one's opinion is necessarily wrong, because the way opinions work is very skewed and just in general how the human brain works. That's why I don't look at someone's opinion and like get upset over it or like start to cause problems, because you believe what you believe in,
right,
and nobody's necessarily wrong. That's just not how it works.
Well, I would say this though, yes, unless if there really is an objective, you know, cosmic creator, like if that's true and if that can be authenticated, like there'd have to be evidence for that, and I'd be happy to get into that. There'd be evidence for that. If that's true, then I might be wrong on things, but it doesn't really matter, because you know there is a creator who calls balls and strikes, right? Like imagine playing a football game with no referee. Like that would be impossible, and that's why I think most people feel like the world is this game with no referee. But I think I think we know that. Well, anyway, I could get into subjective and objective moral values, but I think they'll take us a little bit far afield. But I would say, but if there is a God, then there is an objective meaning to life. And so again, you say, but there's no evidence for that, to which I would say, well, let me try to present some.
Well, you don't need evidence. Like, you can believe in something, obviously, without needing that evidence. And I don't think that's necessarily incorrect, because
that's what makes belief a belief.
What you believe in, if it truly gives you like something that you're looking for, like some faith, it gives you like a reason to live or anything, I honestly see that as a good thing, whether other people dislike the opinion or not.
Yeah, a lot of people say this, Kira, and so it's a very
knowledge and belief.
Well, it's a very common opinion. I hear this a lot. To which I would say, like, imagine for a moment someone believes in the magic slackline fairy, and they're going to go down to the Grand Canyon, and they're like, you know what, bro, can I just tell you something, man? Like, going down there, and, you know, I just feel the presence of the magic slackline fairy, and it just fills my life with such meaning and joy and confidence as I slackline. You know, I just know that I'm not going to fall. Like, I would say, regardless of how much like meaning and value it brings to your life, like it doesn't matter. The fundamental question is it true, right? Like that's the question. Is it true or not? Like it brings you no good to believe in something that isn't true. Happy has his hand up, or somebody else? I thought I said Happy.
I just said side note, slacklining is amazing. I've been doing it for years.
Oh, really? I've never done it, dude. That's hilarious, though. You're the first person where I've said that line.
Slacklining.
And they've actually slacklined. You're the first person. I've been using that line for a while.
It's basically a loose tightrope. It's basically a loose tightrope.
I apologize for having a bad habit of doing this, but
you're absolutely right, Token.
Between the
You're
two
absolutely right.
conversations, the previous one and the current.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
what was
and it's
the previous one in the current?
rounded.
The thing about
what do you mean the
being able to
previous and the
believe
current?
something without evidence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about being able to believe something without evidence, I think that also falls in line with the transgenderism in the mind, where the mind can be correct because that's just what they believe.
Yeah. So there are some things with.
So it's a similar. It's a similar sort of thing. Like I don't know if you could call that faith, but it's something very similar at that.
Okay, yeah. Excellent. So there are some things what we call we call a properly basic belief. Okay, and this is a token streamer on my Twitch stream here real quick was actually just talking about this. You know you're human and alive. You have a brain, but you don't have proof of your own brain because you can't pull your brain out. Or I would say this, like you can't really know that you exist. Like you could be in the Matrix right now. Right? Like you may not actually exist, or maybe you're just a computer program, right? And so you don't know that you exist, right? This is what's called hard solipsism. But we have to, there are some things we need to make are what called properly basic beliefs. And so like the fact that there's no way I can prove that I exist, but I have to go on believing that I exist. And so the question is my transgenderism a properly basic belief? And I would say, well, it depends on the evidence of God. And if God says otherwise, then we should believe his opinion and disregard our own belief on the matter. And so again, the question would be, is there any proof of that or not? Yeah.
But if I remember you saying earlier that God wouldn't force people into that same sort of belief system, so if we do believe we're transgender, why should we throw away our beliefs for God?
Yeah, great. Yeah. Oh, excellent question. And here's the thing, I asked a gay man this actually not too long ago, and we had a really nice conversation about this. I said, you believe that there's gonna be someone who comes along. Whoa, 5 gifted subs, physics, man. You didn't have to do that, man. Thank you so much, man.
So confused.
Dude, physics, thank you so much, dude. Pix Physics right down here, dude. Legend. Thank you very much, Pix. Super grateful for that, man. Dude, wow. Dude, you did not have to do that. What a champ. Thank you very much, Pix. Wow, that's like the most gifted stubs I've had in like a couple months, dude. Thank you so much. Okay, so Pix completely derailed me. Like that By the way, Pix. So like most of my.
I was terrified, dude. I thought you were yelling at me.
No.
They pay to follow.
Yeah.
Person doing something in front of me. So I was like, stickers and so on and so on.
Yeah, no ads and stuff like that. So thank you so much. That was, dude. That's too kind, Pix. That's too kind.
My cousin does this stuff.
Yeah.
So
they don't even have
to
I really do love how you can draw a crowd anywhere and in any lobby with any different kind of people.
Well, not any lobby. No, it takes some time. This is a miraculous little thing every single time it happens. But anyways, Kira, I'm so sorry. I got completely derailed there. What were we talking about again? You were.
I was saying, if I remember you saying earlier,
mass
God
genocide?
would not force you into his beliefs or his.
Whatever. Why would you do something that brings you such unhappiness, right? Why would he make me do something? Okay, yeah, that's right. I was talking about the gay man. Okay, so I said to the gay man, wow, and then Marin Reno, gifting a sub back to Pix. Wow, oh my goodness, this is crazy. You guys are nuts. Anyways, let me answer Kira's question. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys so much. I'm too ADD for this. You guys are all making me so ADD. So anyways, I was talking to the gay man. Okay, maybe I can finish the story. Yeah, okay. And I said to him, you believe that there's going to be a man that you're going to meet, and it's going to be so amazing and transcendent. He's going to be worth giving up all other men for. Like you could have great sex with Jeremy and Steven and Brian and Cal, but you're gonna forsake all of those just to be united with this one guy. And he said, yes, that's what I believe. And I said to him, if a mortal man is worth such sacrifice of that pleasure, right? Like, I mean, you could have some mind-blowing sex with Jeremy and Cal and Brian. Like, if a mortal man is worth giving up that sex, then how much more so could the creator be worth it? And here's the thing, like, why don't we look at that guy's future husband as some sort of despot. Why would you ever make him not sleep with all these other guys? Like, well, no, he in love desires you to make that sacrifice, because every single time he doesn't sleep with some other guy, he's saying, you, my beloved, are worth it. Right? Like, it's actually like every time that you turn down someone and you remain faithful to your spouse, it's the most beautiful expression that they have value. I have a choice here between my orgasmic pleasure and you, my beloved, and I'm choosing you, right? There's a beauty in that. And in fact, the greater the temptation, like if this is like some like supermodel, she comes onto you, when you turn her down, that's even a more beautiful confession that you, my beloved bride, are worth it. This is why it happens in movies all the freaking time. Right? You guys ever watch The Office? There's this episode where this coworker of Jim Halpert's comes and she's like hitting on him every single time, and she's like a fox. I mean, this chick that's hitting on Jim Halpert is a fox, and he's like turning her down every time, and it shows how much he loves his wife Pam that he's going to turn down this coworker who keeps trying to sleep with him. And so I would say, like, the fact that it is so hard to not find relief for your gender dysphoria, could it be that that's what actually makes it so beautiful?
Good point.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
How do I smell?
I love getting these new perspectives.
Yes. Well, no, I'm grateful that you'd even listen to me, Kira. You know, like, here's the thing, like, I don't know if I'd be as open-minded as you are. I don't know if I'd hear you out, you know, because, like, that would be really tough. I'm assuming, by the way, maybe I'm wrong on this, Kira. Are you trans, if you don't mind my asking?
Yes,
I assumed you were, yeah. So, like, I'm just super grateful that you're even kind enough to be having this conversation. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful you hear me out.
This goes back to my point of I don't believe anybody's opinion's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, well, welcome. I'm glad you're here, friend.
I'm straight.
And also, here's from one of my favorite songs for that saying about a man is one of the greatest sayings I've ever heard from a song is there's no greater love than a man to lay down his life for his brother.
Jesus said that. Yeah. Exactly.
No, that's actually from a song.
Well, Jesus said it before it. Before the song.
This saying is from the song.
Which page is that? Let me
November. It's a song about a man's journey through war.
Yeah.
And how he was one of the last living of his people.
Yeah.
Who's also not committed suicide. He is still alive.
Neither.
I follow him on Facebook.
Yeah. But it's originally written by Christ in the New Testament 2,000 years before whoever that songwriter is. Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. I wasn't sure if we were connecting on that piece. So good. Yeah.
I didn't know he said that himself. Holy shit.
Yeah. Greater love hath no man than this, so the man lay down his life for his friends.
I got a Bible right here.
Back to what I was saying, I'm not a very judgmental person. I like to listen to all points of views.
Great question, Token. Let me get to it in 1 second.
The term is fence sitter. I'll look at every side and just make my own judgments based on what it is. If I disagree, I disagree.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna start anything about
it. Sure. No, that's totally fair.
But I do like to hear all these perspectives, though. It's very intriguing.
Thanks, Kira. I'm super grateful for that. So I got a question on my Twitch team real quick, if I can get to it. Okay, so Mel asks, do you run a VPN? If so, logging in can be as pain as most VPNs won't work if you could forget the password. Okay, yeah. So I think they're talking about VPNs earlier. Let me know if any of that's relevant to me. I'll try to comment on it. I'm not going to look back up in the stream yet. Token asks, so this is interesting. Since talking about temptation, what do you think about fantasizing about another person, etc.? Yeah, so great question. So Jesus says in John chapter 6, he says, whoever looks at a woman with lust in his eye has already committed adultery with her in your heart, right? So like there is a reality which like do you think your wife would be okay? Don't ask this question today because a lot of wives may actually be okay with this. But there was for most of history, you know, your wife would not be happy at you looking at other naked women, right? Like your wife would not be happy at you watching porn, you know, like that's, and most women even to this day have this inert feeling that this is not right, that my husband's watching other naked women, right? So I think we know this, and in fact, modern society may has kind of like tempered down that opinion and said, you know, because we've had friends that say, oh no, you shouldn't care, your husband watches porn, da 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 da, and we've heard that so repeatedly that it's like the Nazi soldier who says it's okay to kill Jews, it's okay to, if you say something long enough, it can so twist your conscience you begin to believe it's true. And so I think our society has said so repeatedly that it's okay if your husband watches porn, that women have stopped, you know, caring about it, but actually they should, I would argue. So yeah, I would say we should try to.
As a guy, I'll ask this.
Yeah.
Why should they?
Yeah, great question.
If you're with a woman, why would you watch porn?
Well, I mean, I think.
You know, it's all in front of you. Like, why would you? Why? I don't understand.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
As a single person, I don't understand.
Yeah. Because I would say because
maybe she's not in the mood.
Well, I would.
Well, there's more.
Okay, you wait. You have to damn patience, man.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, I would say this.
It's kind of like
Just take it easy, man.
Like I don't understand either.
Well, it's
why
like.
do you ever want
that I personally
vanilla ice cream if your favorite ice cream is chocolate?
Then you gotta go with someone else.
Oh,
Then that
yeah.
person
What's
ain't
up,
right for you.
Lupina? Or who is that?
Yeah, but your favorite's chocolate. You have it, but you also like vanilla.
Oh, Happy Janitor. Hey.
All right, well, maybe they like vanilla, maybe they don't. But if your favorite's chocolate, stick with your favorite.
At that
Whatever it is.
of satisfying the needs of her partner.
Yeah, great question.
And
Great
if
question.
you can't take
Well,
a
I'll get to it in 1 second.
waiting, you know, just. Sorry.
Primal needs.
Mel, no, I'm actually not colorblind. Interesting. So Token's asking, married with a person or single? Okay, so I'll get to that 1 second. Okay, so this is gonna shock people, but I think even if you're single, you should struggle to resist the desire to watch porn. Like, okay, maybe you're not gonna be Mother Teresa tomorrow, but we should struggle to fight against that. And here's why, dude.
No, not November, guys.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's perpetually. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-ish people in here. So approximately 8 of you, your parents got divorced. And like, you're a grown adult, you're dealing with it, but it was a really like traumatic thing when you were a kid.
My parents are together.
And well, I'm just saying statistically 8 of you, that's the case. But and like, whether you recognize it or not.
50%?
Oh yeah, 50%. Yeah, 50% of marriages end in divorce.
Well,
now,
50% of marriages, not necessarily 50% of marriages that also have children.
It depends on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. I'm being very. That's true.
But no,
I'm being very rough in my statistics.
Just continue your point.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say it's roughly that. Okay. You know, you don't want, you know, whether you realize it or not, a lot of those divorces had to deal with infidelity, right? And so, so I would say, like, we recognize, like eventually, like, listen, if you get addicted to porn or sex addiction, and like eventually you're gonna go get married, right? And then you're gonna go bang your secretary Jennifer, and like then your kids are gonna be from a divorced home. Like there is a reason why there's a beauty in husband and wife being faithful to each other for the rest of their life. Like, we recognize, and you long, if you don't have that, by the way, you long for it. And I think that's further attestation that we recognize the goodness in husband and wife being faithful unto death and loving and serving and providing care for their kids. You know, like, I think we recognize that beauty. What's up,
But could you
Santiago?
still be faithful and even watch porn?
Yeah, but I would say, well, okay, yeah. So theoretically, you could still be faithful in a marriage in the sense of like actual carnal acts, and never have like an actual affair and watch porn. That's possibly so, but Christ would say it doesn't matter only about the act. It matters about the heart, which is the center of will and desire. And so, yeah, you can say, you know, I've been faithful to your wife, but you desire another. She is the object of your desire, not your wife. And your wife wants her to be the object of your desire, right? Like, do you want your wife? Like, imagine your wife. You know, like, do you want another man to be the object of her desire? What she desires, what she wants? No, you want her to want you, because you know what? It's the classic song. I want you to want me, right? Like that's the, you know, like that's the thing. We want to be wanted.
Not at all, baby.
And so, like, that's why it goes to the heart, right? You know. So, and God yeah.
I have
relating to this, I guess.
questions.
Sorry.
Yo, dude, you're
So,
risky. I'm small,
do you know what dissociative identity disorder is, by chance?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I was a psychology minor in college, but that was like a decade ago. So disassociated identity. Remind me. It's not ringing a bell off the top of my head.
Essentially, the best way I can explain this is dissociative identity disorder is when. How would I put this?
Speaking on fantasizing, are you thoughts of animated pornography such as hentai, art, or fictional characters? I assume it fall under the same state. Yeah, it does, Rain.
Are two separate disorders.
Yeah, it does, Rain. Good question, though.
Is what I was trying to get at.
Previously known, but the name.
Yeah, I would say having kids too is not ideal.
Disorders changed to split personality, and DID is its own thing. They're not the same disorder.
Now I can't.
It's associated with overwhelming traumas or abuse during childhood.
But basically, DID is when your brain kind of splits apart into essentially.
By the way, forgive me, chat. I'm trying to get all these things. We're getting kind of
people as a
lots
whole,
of questions,
like
so forgive me.
Personalities, different traits, everything.
Movie Split.
That is a very poor representation of DID.
I've heard that before. Yeah, I heard that before.
Is it? Wait, is it really? Because I took that movie very
yeah,
seriously.
it is.
No, he's right. No, he's right. He's right. Yeah.
What's that thing that they treat epilepsy, or they used to treat epilepsy by separating the two halves of the brain, and it resulted in independent thoughts? Like they could.
That's true.
I know what you're talking
Yo.
about.
Corpus callosum.
Yeah.
Corpus callosum
Oh, yeah.
connects the left to the right hemisphere.
Like given what I explained to you, if let's say somebody.
Hold
with
1 second,
DID
Santiago. Let me just
and
finish up this. 1 second, Santiago. Go ahead, Kira.
Gotcha.
So let's say with somebody with DID, one of their other personalities or alters, whatever you want
Yeah.
to phrase it as, commits some sort of crime.
Yeah.
Would you consider that to be punishment of the actual host, or do you think
Yeah,
that's
great
not
question.
necessarily the host's fault?
Great question.
That's an interesting one.
So yeah, I think that becomes very difficult to answer because the question, there's a lot of debate on DID in its authenticity, right? Like some people say,
Of course, yes.
you know, and so I'm not going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole. I would say this: if it's really true, like if it's let's just assume for a moment the DID is true. I would say you shouldn't be responsible. But it's hard for me to know. It's hard for me to know, and that'd be really easy for someone to say DID.
Yeah, that stuff too, though.
Yeah, it'd be easy to fake. And what do you do under the law then?
I would actually kind of argue the opposite because
in that case,
I'm pretty sure this is also the same way they argue in court.
Sure, Mel. What's the link about?
It doesn't matter.
Oh my goodness,
how many
my brain is like going.
Yeah.
But whoever, if one of them does something
So
wrong with
many
the actual physical
discussions.
body that can affect other people, then you gotta hold the body responsible. If he ruins it for himself,
Yeah, it's
for
tough.
everyone else in there.
That's why I even thought that one through, and that would require a lot of thinking through. It's hard. It's
Trust
hard.
me, I've known some very violent personalities.
I believe it.
2 out of 3.
Okay, so can we get to Santiago? Santiago is waiting for a question. Can we go to Santiago real quick, guys?
Oh, I thought you rolled a 3, and I rolled a 3.
Yeah, we did.
So I've actually been to church. Like
I'm gonna
asked
talk
this
to you on
question,
Discord. Okay, I'm gonna mute my mic here.
But so let's say someone's in prison for months. They killed someone. They killed 2 people.
Okay.
3 people. However many you say. But it
Oh,
was
it's
out of self-defense.
It's chopping up a little bit. So you
Is
killed
that
2 people out of
considered-
self-defense?
No. I'm saying if anyone kills a certain amount of people, let's say it could be 1,
Yeah.
4, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if it's out of self-defense, would you still go to hell for that, even though you tried your best
Yeah.
to get?
Well, yeah, great question. So first of all, we would say that killing someone in self-defense is not a sin. But even if they did like intentionally kill somebody, that they wouldn't necessarily go to hell. Like let's talk about this. This is a really important discussion. Okay, so what are the criteria for someone going to heaven or going to hell? Okay, a classic, like if you have no exposure to the church, you're probably going to say good people go to heaven, bad people to go to hell. Well, here's what I would say. We're all bad people, right? Our conscience has told us do A and we've done B because it's easier, because it's more pleasurable, because it's more expedient. Every single one of us has done something contrary to our conscience, has done contrary to God's will. So we're all lawbreakers. Like, nobody can say, oh, excuse me, Judge, 99.9% of the days on my earth, I didn't do any law breaking. But the 0.1% of days, yeah, I killed that guy, but you just got to let me go for that one, like I was 99.9%. No, like you're a lawbreaker, and that you can't say you're a good person if you're the lawbreaker, right? So here's the thing is like we're all bad people and we all need to be forgiven, right? And so here's the thing is Christ wants to forgive. He desires, he pleads, he begs. And actually, I would argue that's what he's doing right now through my voice is he's plaguing me, please be reconciled to me. Please dwell with me for all eternity. Please come and be united with me. But he doesn't force us, right? Because that'd be like a celestial rape that would turn heaven into San Quentin. So heaven is for those bad people who want to be reconciled and forgiven by God, and hell is where again, we're all bad people, those who don't wish to be reconciled to God and want to give God the everlasting bird. Now you'd say, oh, Pastor Brock, well, I would never want to do that. I would never want to give the Almighty the bird for all eternity. Well, actually be careful, bro, because every single day I give the Almighty the bird whenever I sin, and I do sin every single day, and you do too when you sin. So I would say, like, let's not underestimate our capacity to reject God. So anyways, that'd be kind of my short answer. But again, God desires to reconcile with us. God desires to forgive. And so the question is, are we willing?
So I don't want this to come off as pompous, or
Sure.
like kind of like just rude. But
Sure.
are you saying that no matter what you've committed, like you can make it into heaven if you're
Yeah,
just,
great question. Yeah. Like
believing
you know,
God, because
yeah.
like I know some.
Great question. Yeah. So, like, imagine you have Adolf Hitler and he's in his bunker and he said, yes, Lord, I've committed, approximately 10 million people, yeah. And, but I know there's this cosmic loophole that says if I just say, Jesus, forgive me, you have to let me in, yeah? And so I'm going to say, Jesus, forgive me. Now you have to let me in, right? Okay, that's not going to jive, right? God knows, when, like that instance.
God isn't stupid.
God is not stupid. And in that instance, he's going to say, get the blankety blank away. Now here's the thing, now if Hitler on his deathbed, he said, God, what have I done? My Lord, what have I done? Have mercy on me. Redeem me. Like, that's a very different story, right? I do think that there could be possibility for reconciliation if there was sincere repentance, but there's no indication that Hitler would ever do something like this. And here's the thing, this is a really important point. A lot of people talk about deathbed confessions. They just say, oh yeah, I'll reconcile with Jesus, my last couple minutes on this earth. Dude, it's deathbed confessions are very rare. I'll tell you as a pastor, there is this reality that if you live your entire life rejecting God, it seems that you'll die rejecting God too. That's often the case. There are some deathbed confessions, but so I think the question we have to ask ourselves in this moment today is, Lord, have I rejected you and rejected your will? And by the way, here's a little cheat code for you. The answer is yes. And so the answer is, Lord, will you restore me today? Lord, will you forgive me? Lord, will you come into my life? Right? Yeah, like that's what I'd say the answer is. So yeah, Mel, go ahead and post the link. Actually, I think you'll get booted. Well, you won't get booted, but I think it'll delete the link. So maybe send it me on Discord. I'll try to take a look at it if it's critical for this discussion. And then Token says, I want to say Abraham was an example. One kid was blessed, the other out of wedlock wasn't. I don't remember. Yeah, you're talking about Isaac and Ishmael. We could talk more about that later, but. Well, I wouldn't say, listen, if you're a kid out of wedlock, I'm not saying God's going to hold that against you. That story is very specific and complicated, and not applying to all kids out of wedlock. If you're out of wedlock, it's not like you're a B-class citizen before the Almighty. No, get out of here with that.
There's a lot of context we're missing.
Yeah, there's a lot of context.
I would assume that basically what you're saying is just you have to be honest with them when you do say that. You want that forgiveness.
Yeah. Now, but here's another pitfall.
You gotta be honest to God.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the thing. You have to be sorry, right? Now, this is very important. The word sorry connects to the word sorrow. Like, you ever have somebody apologize to you and they're like, "Sorry, man," and you can tell they have no sorrow over what they've done. They're just saying some words, hoping that we can let bygones be bygones. It's a very dissatisfying thing. But if someone says, dude, I'm so sorry, bro. I'm really sorry that right? That's a very different thing entirely. You know what I mean? And so sorry is connected to sorrow. So we should have sorrow for our sin and ask God and say we are sorry. Now, but here's a very, very, very critical point. Huh? That's being honest. That's just as you said. That's just as you said. But here's a very critical point. You can get to a point where you can say, was I sorry enough? Right? And some people will say, well, maybe I wasn't sorry enough in my apology toward God. And that is do not go down that road. You can never be sorry enough, right? And you shouldn't say, maybe I wasn't sorry enough. Just say you're sorry. Just be sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Coca.
This ties into what you said earlier at the actual church world about how you should feel regret when you commit the sin.
Yeah.
When you harm someone or you make someone feel bad, not when you're apologizing or when you're
Chrysostom. Chrysostom said this. Chrysostom said this in the 4th century. I wish I could find the exact quote. He says something along the lines of, Chrysostom is my favorite theologian, again, from the 400s. He says, be mournful when you sin, not when you come in repentance, right? Like rejoice when you come in repentance because Christ is restoring you and healing you. But there is a time to feel bad about your sin. Like after you've committed sin, like it's good that you'd feel sorrow. But like, here's the thing, like some of us are holding on to guilt that we did for things we did like 10 years ago. And the answer is like, ask God for forgiveness. And after he's forgiven you for that stuff, and if the word Satan comes from the Hebrew hasatan, which means accuser, like a plaintiff in a courtroom, like like the guy who's always accusing, like, Your Honor, he did this X, Y, Z, right? That's what the word Satan literally means. And so when Satan tries to throw your sins in your face after you've received forgiveness for them, you tell him to go shove it where the sun don't shine, because yes, you're right. I committed that sin, and I also committed this sin and that sin and this sin and that sin. But you know what? Christ my God has forgiven me. Christ my God has washed me in the blood of his cross, and I am forgiven. So what of it? Take it up with him if you've got a problem, right? And this is, dude, what I just said, this is the answer to guilt. This is the answer to guilt. Like, like, what do we do when we're guilty? Like, let's say Karen's being a real salty wench, and you kind of went DEFCON 1 on her, and you brought up that stuff about her dad, and you feel really guilty because, I probably shouldn't have said that stuff. What do? You call up your buddy, ring, ring, ring. Hey, dude, I went off on Karen. I probably shouldn't have done that. What do you want your buddy to say? Oh, dude, you didn't do anything wrong. She deserved it. She was being rude to you, right? Like you want your buddy to lie to you because it sounds more convincing when he says lies to you instead of when you lie to yourself. And this is what we do to try to we try to tell these justifications, excuses to deal with our guilt. But what if the real answer for guilt is to ask God for forgiveness, to receive it, and that's the end of it? Instead of shoving it deep down into your subconscious. Like what if it's actually to ask God for forgiveness and receive it? He wants to forgive.
I find myself pondering the same thing about the belief, like what was mentioned with believing that you are in the wrong body, or believing in God, or believing in anything, the fundamental belief, the proper fundamental belief.
Yeah, proper basic belief. Yeah.
To forgiveness. But how do you believe that you've forgiven yourself, or that someone else has really forgiven you? How do you believe that that's actually absolved?
I don't think forgiveness, though, is a properly basic belief. I would say the belief in God is a properly basic belief. And then if God exists, and if God actually is speaking through the Bible, that's something we could evidentially prove. If that's true, then we should listen to what he has to say about it. And Christ says in 1 John, he says, if we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves and the truth is not in us. But if we confess our sins, God, who is faithful and just, will forgive our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness, right? So there's a clear word from God. And if the Bible is actually legit, then there's a clear word from God saying that you're forgiven when you the Greek word there for confess is the Greek word homologeo. Homo means same, logeo means word, right? So when we sin, we're basically said, shove it, fat man in the sky. I believe that this thing you say is bad in your word. I think it's good, right? And so we're saying this different word. There's this dissonance. There's this cosmic dissonance between me and him.
So
right?
Yes.
But then confession is to come and say, no, Lord, I was wrong. You are right. Forgive me, right?
So what if you do have a disagreement?
I think that the same thing, and this is something I've personally struggled with all my life, is beliefs themselves.
Yeah.
And if I'm understanding correctly, in order to be able to get out of the quagmire of existentialism and just what's the point in believing in it, you have to pick some fundamental belief, and that will set a premise by which you can validate future beliefs, and then you have an organized path forward.
Yeah, that's correct. You have to start on some sort of primary basic belief, regardless of your worldview. Whether you're an atheist, you have to presume that you exist, and that's something you can't prove. There's a whole host of things you can't prove.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or how about this? You
Yeah.
can't prove there are other minds. There's this great list that William Lane Craig lists of things
Oh
you
my
can't
God.
you can't prove unless you like all these other minds, like myself. I could just be an imagination of your
Yeah.
own mind. I might not actually be thinking here and existing
You could
here
be
and
my
feeling.
alter.
Yeah. I could be. Yeah, I could be.
You could be an AI.
He could be one of my multiple personalities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. There's no way to prove that. Now, I think it's a properly placed fundamental basic belief that that's the case, that we are here.
Right.
And here's the thing: I can even tell you I'm really a human being, but that's no proof, right? Because that could be your brain telling you I'm really a human being, saying that, right? Yeah, there's a bunch of these.
You just have to decide, like, okay, I'm going to move forward. Under
Exactly.
The assumption this is true.
Exactly.
So that I can move forward.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
It's like if you made an AI play VR chat, you would never be able to validate the authenticity. of
Right.
it.
Exactly. Hey, Chance was raising his hand.
Which
Yeah,
is-
Chance, go ahead, boss.
idea.
Yeah, fire away, man.
Okay, so you said you had a minor in psychology.
Yes. Well, actually, I have a confession to make. I was like one class short of having a minor in psychology, but I almost had a minor in psych. Please forgive me. Anyways, but yeah, go ahead, Chance.
Ouch.
Okay, do you remember anything about attachment theory?
Attachment theory. Dude, this is like a decade ago, so I'm having a. I don't refresh me.
There's like 4 different types of basic attachments that all humans form.
Okay, tell me more.
Or can be categorized as.
Okay.
The 4 different types of attachment. There's avoidant, anxious, secure, and fearful. The 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll out. Take care, man.
All right, boss. Take care, man. Thanks for being here tonight. Okay, keep talking, Chance.
Well, I mean, if you remember,
Same to you.
To be honest, I don't recall
attachment is
bringing
by
that.
far the rarest.
Yeah, I don't recall. I may have come up in my class. To be honest, I don't recall that. But keep going.
Yeah, it's okay. I was just gonna ask, like, the fearful attachment is by far the rarest of all human attachments. It
Okay.
makes up less than 5% of all human attachments.
Sure.
According to the best research that we have.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna ask the recommendation that you would have for people that have that type of rare attachment.
Oh,
Because
so
they have to
do
live
you
their
do you
lives.
interact with all people in a fearful sense? Is this is like transcend like all interactions with people?
Oh, it gets really, really complicated. No, it's not so much that you're afraid of people, but a fearful attachment is like along the lines of like you're afraid of attaching with people even though you desperately want to.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So you really want connection, but then as soon as you get the connection, you begin to back off because you fear the loss of it.
It comes from 'cause all attachments form because of the attachment you form with your parents.
Oh.
Right, infants immediately the first relationship an infant ever has is with their parents, probably their mother, right?
Yeah.
So the way that an infant attaches with their parents usually determines the type of attachment that
Oh,
they'll
and
have
this
for the
has
rest
a
of
lot of
their life
implications
with
for
other people.
adopted kids, right? You know, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, but basically what causes a fearful attachment are like children recognize their parents as a safe haven, meaning that they need to go to them whenever they feel threatened or in danger.
Right.
But when the parents become the source of danger, it puts a very young, undeveloped child mind in a very tightrope catch-22 line where like they recognize their parents and want to go to them for help, but their parents are the source of danger.
Wow.
So it causes them to be afraid of forming attachments as they get older, even though they want to.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, or not. Obviously, that's not fantastically worded. That's a very interesting, is what I mean to say. Yeah, fantastic. The kids are not attached to their parents. Yeah, that's not what I was trying to say. But anyways, tell me more. Do you think it has some implications for what we're talking about?
Well, no. I mean, if you said you had a minor in psychology, I just wanted to know what your
Well, I mean, I think there are some.
I think
there are. Yeah, I mean, I think there are some theological implications here too. Uncle Tusky said, I want to make sure I'm not forgetting things on Twitch here. Uncle Tusky, Sleepy Gohan, thank you so much for the follow. Uncle Tusky, is it possible to prove you exist and other minds exist? No. Yeah, solipsism. Yeah, exactly. Token, I'm very impressed. Yep, this is the solipsism or hard solipsism. Exactly right. Yep, exactly right. All right, so sorry about the delay there. All right, so anyways, Chance, I would say some theological sense, theological thoughts, because my graduate degree is in theology. So
Yeah.
So this is what I would say, right? So going back to what you were just talking about with your parents, right? You don't trust them, right? There's a fundamental lack of trust because they're a source of danger, as you said, right? You can't trust something if it's dangerous, right? I don't,
Yeah, for people that have that attachment.
Have that attachment, yeah. So, I guess one of the things that I would say, and I don't know how helpful this would be with someone with a fearful attachment, because I don't have a tremendous amount of experience there. But if I had that, I would think, at least in my own head, the thing that I would want to say is that God is not like your parents. God is not capricious. God is not. He is reliable. He is trustworthy. He is long-suffering. He is patient. He is kind. He desires to reconcile with humanity. So I would say he's altogether different. And even, like people talk about like God's anger. Like anger is a fundamentally different thing from God. He's this is what the early Christians called. He's passionless. Right? Like, which means that he's not like when we get steamed, we're just like, rah, rah, rah. It's just kind of animalistic. And God's anger, like for the word wrath, what's interesting is the word wrath in the original Greek New Testament is the word orges. It means to swell, right? And so even implied in that word wrath is that you're not immediately snapping. There's this swell, and then finally a release, right? It's this enough is enough kind of thing. It's not like this impulsive, rage out of nowhere kind of thing. Oh, goodness, hopefully I'm not dropping. Oh, please don't crash. Oh,
Uh-oh.
Okay, I'm back. I think we're working. Welcome back. Okay. So, I don't know. That's some of the things firing from the hip. I'd have to give more thought to this, but I would say to the person, God is trustworthy where your parents are not. And so you need not fear relying upon him. That's kind of what I'd say. What are your thoughts on that, Chance?
Oh yeah, I mean that's cool. It works for me.
Yeah.
Thanks for the input.
Yeah. And again, it may not. I'm not saying that this is going to be like some sort of magic golden pill. Yes. No, I will never be fearfully, a fearful attachment. But I'm saying I think these are the kinds of thoughts that we need to be mindful of. My eternal Father is not like my earthly father. Is kind of what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And here's the thing: is like,
all right.
And here's the thing: is like knowing is higher than feeling. Right? Like you can say like, oh, Pastor Brock, okay, it's very nice that you say that, but I don't really feel that in my heart. Well, here's the thing. Knowing overrides feeling. When you're in line for a roller coaster, it looks like you're going to die. This massive thing is going to kill me, right? But the coroner is not taking up shop on the exit line of the roller coaster, right? So you're willing to go on this very trepidatious thing that's causing you physically to convulse in fear. You still go on the roller coaster because your knowledge that you're going to survive it overrides the fearfulness of the roller coaster. And to the same thing I would say is like, you're not necessarily going to get the perfect relief from this fear and anxiety that you have, but our knowing can override our feeling.
Okay.
And there gets to a point where I think that knowing begins to subside the feeling to some degree at certain points, but not necessarily always and all the time. And I would say the purpose of this life is not to have like magic golden pills that like take away all of my suffering and pain. Like there's actually a beauty to trust God in the midst of trepidation. The thing that I would point to on this is I have my middle daughter. Her name's Ellie. My oldest daughter and my youngest daughter are kind of like adventurous. They'll like go on any roller coaster, do any ride. Like she's way more willing to go on roller coasters than even I am. Like my oldest daughter, she's like, when can I be tall enough to go on this massive, crazy roller coaster? So, but my middle daughter, she's very kind of very cautious, you'd say. And so when she goes to the swimming pool, she'll stay at the edge, and I'll say to her, Ellie, jump, I'll catch you. But she doesn't want me to, oh goodness, am I dropping frames again? You guys hear me? Oh, good. I think I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay. So she doesn't want to jump from the side of the pool. She wants me to very gently place her down in the pool. But I don't want her to do that, right? I want her to jump. Why? I would say every parent does this. Every parent says, jump, I'll catch you. You remember some instance of your childhood where your parents said, jump, I'll catch you. I would bet my bottom dollar in that. Oh, unless, of course, you had like a really traumatic childhood. But I would say you know, that why do I want her to jump? Because when she leaps from that side of the pool, terrified and all, she is saying to me, she's not feeling very safe, but her knowing is overriding her feeling, and she's saying, Daddy is good. Daddy will catch me. Daddy will not make me fall. Daddy, is a good man. Daddy's not an a-hole, right? You know, she's saying all of that thing, not with words. She's saying it with the very leap of her body. She's instantiating that in for her physical leap from the side of the pool. And so I would say the purpose of like life, and even I would dare say death is the ultimate leap from the side of the pool. Father, you're good. Father, you will catch me. Father, you are the philanthropos, which means lover of mankind. It's where we get the English word philanthropy from. Father, you're not a jerk. You're not capricious. You know, you will catch me, right? And that, so like, that's beauty. There's beauty in that, right? There's beauty in that expression of trust. And so I would say, and we want that. Like, here's the thing, we want that too. Like we should say, like, I think sometimes we say, oh God, why do you want? Hey, what's up, Suicide? Good to see you. I'll talk to you 1 second, man. We say, oh well, why does God care about being trusted? I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? Have you heard yourself? Like, you say to your buddies all the time, bro, trust me on this. It's gonna be so good. It's so good. I got a surprise for you. Just trust me on this. Trust me on this. We want to be trusted. Why? Because it's the same thing going with my little daughter jumping from the side of the pool. She's saying, when someone trusts you, they're saying you are good, Chance. You're good. It's the ultimate expression of good. You know, I can say, oh, Chance, you're a real good guy. But if I go driving with you in the woods where you could easily pull off to the side and put a shotgun blast on my temple, like, you know, like that's a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like entrusting, you don't drive with strangers oftentimes unless you're like a hitchhiker, but that's another thing entirely. So I'd say trust is exceedingly beautiful. So the man, the myth, the legend, Suicide, man. Glad you're here, boss. Haven't seen you forever, man. Miss you. Super kind. Thanks for the Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate the Jeff Bezos money, Suicide. Thanks, man. Super grateful. Super grateful. Yo, by the way, how is your wife's ring? Was that hype train enough? It is now. She just needs to go to, She wants to get the ring at Sam's Club. Okay, don't judge me. The ring it's a really nice ring and it's discounted because it's actually through Sam's Club.
So you're using your Twitch money to buy your wife a ring?
Yes, dude. So yes, we're over the dollar amount.
Why
but the problem,
do you not use that on starving little children? That's not godlike. Oh no.
Let's talk. Let's talk more. So anyways, I would say that sorry, that completely distracted me. Yes, we have enough. We just need her to order it, but she wants to order it in person so that it fits and gets sized, but they're not doing that right now because of COVID. So yes, we are good in that regard. I'd love to have Little come back if he wants to talk. I'd love to bring up his objection.
I like the irony of him saying that right after we were talking about how you can really make a difference for those people.
Screaming.
Yeah. So I would say this, like, I did drop $85 the other day for a mom who was down on her luck so that she could stay in a motel. Like, I personally did that. So, like, when's the last time you fed starving children? It would be my tumble retort, right? You know, it's funny that like people want to like, you know, levy these.
Yeah.
Was that what? Oh, isn't that convenient? Isn't that convenient? Well, is it good to help poor people? You would say yes, yeah.
Bro, well, I'm a SoundCloud rapper. I need that for myself. You know.
Oh yeah. What? Come on, bro. Do you see what hypocrisy? Right, here's the reality. Is like.
I'm not trying to hypocrisize. I'm just gonna. Can I ask you something?
Pastor Brock, are you a Christian?
Yeah, boss. I'm an IRL Christian pastor. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I like
Brock,
that. I
what
like
exactly
that.
is your theological background, I wonder?
Yeah, so I have a Master's of Divinity from
seminary or
I have a Master's of Divinity from Concordia Theological Seminary in Fort Wayne, Indiana. My professors got their PhDs from Harvard, from Oxford, from Durham in England. Yeah, so I was very blessed to have a great theological education.
Yeah, I like that. So I'm really into anime and like Fire Force and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you got
boss.
like any cool powers?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you mentioned powers. I've got a whole thing about that. Like, why doesn't Jesus like go all Superman? Da 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 da. Like, why doesn't he? Like, we could talk about that if you're interested in that.
Kinda does.
I'd love to talk about that. It's a really interesting topic.
Like, why is like the whole world just so evil? You know?
Yeah, dude. Great question. Great question. We've kind of been talking about that a little bit. Oh, dude. I think somebody's trying to crash me. Anyways, why is the world evil? We've been kind of talking about that tonight, so I don't want to like backtrack But if that's really what if that's what the group's interested in, we can definitely go back to the question of why God allows evil. If that's whatever you guys want to talk about, I want to talk about.
So is there aliens?
I don't know, boss.
Hold on.
There's certainly no.
You said you were a rapper?
There's certainly no evidence to believe that's the case, and I would say
rapper, but I'd be rapping gay. I'm just trying to get
the fact
absolved
that there's no evidence for aliens, I think, is really profound evidence that of how unique we are as human beings.
Rap
you
about
know.
Bible studies.
Oh, rap about the Bible. All
If
right,
you're a rapper, I want to hear it. Rap about
Pronouncing
the
those
Bible.
degrees makes me think you would be great at rapping. LOL. Thanks,
I'm
Suicide.
kind of curious about that. Like, I wonder how
you
Pastor Brock would
SoundCloud
do
rappers
things like
here.
communion in VR chat.
Yeah, great question. So I would say there are some
Where
pastors.
we get a heads up, like so we can go buy juice.
Yeah, you're great. Yeah, there's some pastors who can believe that you can do communion over VR. I would say no. It has to be physical and in person. So
I believe it's true. I
so
believe it's true. No,
well,
you can do it. You
can
can
do it. You can do it. Okay. Well, thank you. I'm not gonna take my theological advice from a guy named Little. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just. Yeah.
A little cum drip, man. It's okay.
Yeah.
We know your dick has a cum drip. It's okay, bro.
Okay,
we
boss.
all have
Thank
the
you.
same dicks.
Thank you
All
very
cum
much.
drip.
There you go. Very nice. Very nice.
Pastor Brock, is cum a curse word?
So someone over here was
I
asking
would
about
say,
virtual
so
baptism, and that made me think about communion.
Right. Yeah. So I'd be against virtual baptism too.
I'm seeming.
Could I rap about
Yeah,
the Bible?
so I would
I'm
say-
not really not trying to troll.
No, you're. Yeah, I don't know. Well, it depends. It depends on what you wanted to say exactly. I think it depends specifically what you were saying and why you were saying it. But anyways, to go back to Cream
So I
Pie.
went into church.
One second, bro. Cream Pie was just asking a question. Let me get to his real quick. So Cream Pie was saying. Is it sin to use some of these? Yeah. So so Scripture talks about not avoiding impure speech, right? And so I try to do my best. I certainly fail at this. I kind of rub hit the fringes of that of what is impure and not impure speech. Like I try to be funny, and so sometimes there's little things on the edge, but I try to be as pure in my speech as I can. And so, what is pure speech? I think that's kind of I think it's kind of subjective. Well, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. So Suicide says on Twitch, well, there's no direct evidence of aliens, but it's nearly statistically impossible to not have some form of foreign life. Well, actually, I would say, we could get into that. If you're interested.
Aliens are mixed in with religion all the time.
Yeah.
Aliens are mixed in religion? Tell me more.
Well, they do have like paintings and stuff.
They worship like sun gods or whatever. Like and saucers have assisted, and they kind of worship them, like religion for them back then.
Okay, so the fact that there are maybe some like art and some ideas that might be consistent with flying saucers or like they always talk about aliens and the pyramids and stuff like that. So I would say this, just because that seems consistent with the explanation of the pyramids. Yeah, boss, we do. Hold on. I would say just because an explanation is consistent with the evidence doesn't mean it's the evidence or it's the answer.
my dog when I was 4.
Okay. Block, block. Anyways, so
that is so rude.
No, it's good. So, anyways, imagine for a moment a guy walks in from home after a long day of work. He seems super stressed. He doesn't even talk to his wife when he comes home. He goes into his office. 10 minutes later, there's a bang. Wife walks in. He's on the floor with a gun in his hand. You might deduce that he committed suicide, and that's certainly consistent with the evidence. But it could also be consistent with the evidence that there was the reason the guy was stressed is because he knew there was a hit out on him. An assassin came in through the window, shot him, exited quickly, and staged it as a suicide. Like that's consistent with the evidence. And so if that's all the evidence we have so far, if that's all the evidence we have, both explanations are consistent with the evidence. We can't assume it's one or the other.
Yeah,
so even if I were to grant,
that.
which I wouldn't necessarily grant, even if I were to grant to you that maybe space aliens are consistent with the construction of the pyramids, that wouldn't follow, ergo, there were space aliens and they constructed the pyramids. Just because it's consistent with the evidence doesn't mean it's the explanation.
I have an honest question for you.
Yeah, please.
Really good. How do you reconcile just how absolutely, infused, as a religious man,
Yeah.
how infused religion is with politics right now.
Yeah.
And I know that that's always been a problem, but how can you reconcile that, especially if it may
great,
be
great. Oh, dude,
against
Tycho,
what
I'm
you
so
actually
relieved. Okay, I'm so relieved because like Tycho's here, dude. You can just tell in the man's voice that this is a smart dude, like a really smart dude. I'm like, oh crap, dude. Here's something's dropping here. Oh goodness. Oh,
No, this
almost,
is not. I'm not trying to go for a gotcha question. I'm
no,
sincerely wondering what you think. 'cause
No,
I
I'm
have no idea
relieved.
what
I'm
I think.
relieved because I have a very easy answer for this. But I was just saying before. I don't know if I cut out there, but I was just saying like, oh boy, here we go. But yeah, no, this one's pretty easy for me. I would say that I don't like how infused, especially some aspects of conservatism are kind of being pimped. Christianity is like kind of being pimped out by Republicans in a large sense, and I mean, and it's all around. I'm an equally opportunity offender of both of Republicans and Democrats, but I think it's really problematic when we just assume, Jesus is on Team Red, and therefore everything that Team Red is unquestionably good. I think that's really problematic. I think there are some things that definitely Team Red gets right before the eyes of God. I mean, abortion, issues of sexuality and stuff like that. I mean, I would agree with a lot of those things that Team Red goes for, but like, for example, like I remember back in 2016 and when the whole I grab her right in the like when that came out, I was like, oh, this guy, right? Well, there you go. You can say it for me. Like I thought like that was that was going to be the end of it. Like, how can this possibly? How can this guy win the evangelical vote?
That's
and
crazy.
So I would say I think largely Trump has played evangelicals. He speaks up God, but I think it's largely insincere. Would be my guess. I can't say that for certain. I don't know the man's heart, but that's been my perception. I don't know that for certain.
Do you ascribe to a certain denomination?
Yes. So I'm a clergyman I'm a clergyman in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, a denomination of approximately 2 million Lutherans in the United States. Even though it's Missouri Synod, you'd think it's only in Missouri, but actually it goes back to our historic name. We were actually the Lutheran Synod of Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, and other states. And so that got like really like long, especially in German. It's like Der Synods an Grundgemeindreien or whatever. There's like a big long name. Das und Indian and Indiana und Ohio. Yeah. Oh boy, that's gonna be careful on the. I don't know if that counts as a racial slur. I don't know German, so I can't mute him or not based on that. But anyways, I digress. So, it's approximately 2.5 million. Okay, 2.5 million people in the United States. So yeah.
No, I understand. I was raised United Methodist.
So, okay, sure.
Yeah.
How many? I really wanted to do a Bible rap, but nobody will let me do it.
Yeah, my request. I'm gonna. Just hearing you so far, bro. I think I'd rather not. I know. I'd rather not.
All right.
Yeah.
So like, I walked up in the church.
Oh boy.
I burst into flames because they're liable because the Bible told me to suck the dick in shame, and now
that's gonna be a mute. Yeah. That's gonna be a mute.
Yeah.
For me, that's a block.
No, Pastor, listen. He had a message. He walked into the church. He burst up into the flames because he went near the Bible. It was like a story, bro.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting.
He was talking about his eternal damnation. Am I allowed to say that?
Oh, well, yeah. No, you can say damnation, sure.
I have a question.
Yeah, fire away.
So I'm the girlfriend stripper.
So, how would you say, like, the views of evolution conflict with the views of your religion?
Oh, great question, Kira. Great question. Hold on 1 second. I want to text or talk to chat here. The right-left paradigm is something I am concerned of, Pastor Brock says to Delta Fire. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Why people got to be like that? Token Streamer says. Yeah, that's a good question. Go ahead, Coca.
I think that the sort of hostage-taking of beliefs and groups is happening on both sides of the political spectrum in almost every country of Western society right now. And in America is a good example that many will notice. On the left, you got them just claiming entire groups of ideologies like, oh yeah, they're our people. And then on the right, you have the same thing happening, and it's just they never asked to be claimed. No one asked to be claimed by a political party like that.
Okay,
so I mean, I'm gonna agree with my man here. It's really difficult. Like, I understand that religion is so important for giving so many people community. Like, that's the main way that people got community. Like, just 50 years ago, not even that.
Which one?
And now that's being ripped away from people. Because as soon as you say that you're religious to some people...
Fucking love penis in my mouth. I love cock. I love cock and fuck.
That's a block.
Why is this happening?
Okay.
That's 3 blocks now.
So calm, man.
Hey, that's the game, you know?
Yep.
It's unfortunate.
I've never blocked so many people in one day.
Are you answering questions though?
Yeah, sure, boss. Yeah. Well, actually, let me get to Kira. Kira was asking a question. Can I knock that one out real quick?
I couldn't hear. Yeah, I couldn't hear over there.
Oh, you're good. So Kira was asking about evolution. Okay, so there's a long answer to this and a short answer to this. If I can try to get a short answer so I can get some of the other questions. More could be said on this topic. So don't be, I'm not going to give this question justice. So I would say this. Okay, to some degree, evolution is demonstrable, right? Like, we see antibiotic-resistant bacteria, speciation within, like, dogs, for example, right? So, changes within, kinds is absolutely demonstrable. Now, the question is how much of the speciation in the world is a result of common ancestor evolution. Even atheists have leveled suspect on that claim, right? Just recently a Yale University professor came out and was very suspect that natural selection is able to produce the wide variety of speciation that we see in the world, right? So I would say to what extent evolution is involved with the great variance that we see in life on this planet, I think is up for debate. But I think evolution certainly has a part in that. No, that can't be denied.
I have something to ask about that. So, like, is intelligent design even a conversation worth having if faith is the cornerstone of religion anyways?
Well, faith is the cornerstone of believing anything.
Define, what do you?
They never asked
to be claimed. Dropping frames.
True.
Okay, so Taika, how would you define faith? Because I think the way you may define faith is be different than how I define faith.
Well, faith is. I guess that is really difficult to kind of define.
Okay, so
I would instinct belief in something.
Okay, so I would say this. Okay, so the word pistos is the word for faith in the Greek New Testament. The word pistos can be translated belief or it can be translated trust, right? So we whatever we trust in, we believe in, right? Like I trust that the chair below me right now will be able to support my weight, right? I'm not like, okay, we're just gonna be real easy on the weight here as I crash on this thing, right? Because I trust that it's able to support my weight. So I would say, I trust in God, but it's not like I'm just going to trust for the sake of trusting. Like, no, there's a tremendous amount of there's a whole host of reasons why I trust in God. And we could get into all sorts of those reasons. I mean, a couple of them would be, I think it's demonstrable from the complexity of abiogenesis that we could not be here without intention. I'd be happy to make an argument from that looking at adenosine triphosphate synthase. Also, the improbabilities of our existence on a whole host of other levels.
Complex 5? What? I don't know what you mean by that. I'm not trying to stop you here.
Oh, we can talk about adenosine triphosphate synthase. You want to talk about it? Electron transport chain?
This is actually really weird because I do mitochondrial research.
Oh, interesting.
So
yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
ATP
Yeah.
synthase it's also called complex 5 in the field. It's essentially what takes ADP, snaps a phosphate group on it. It's like
yeah. It's like a little engine. Yeah, it's like a little engine. It runs on like a water wheel. Yeah. I'd be happy to. I'd love to hear your thoughts on my argument.
Versed for a theologian. I'm not trying to
thank
throw
you.
shade in that comment. I'm genuinely impressed.
Well, I'm honored. I'm honored, Taika, that you'd say that.
That backhanded compliment.
That's not what I intended.
No. I didn't take it as a backhanded compliment at all. I didn't take it as a backhand.
A lot of people will cling to faith without thinking And it's good. It's refreshing to see this.
Yeah, well, I'm thank
I'm
you.
not trying to put myself.
No. I wasn't offended at all. I wasn't offended in the slightest.
Okay.
So we could talk about that, but there's something else I was going to say about that. So we were talking evidence. Like, so why do I trust? So we can get into the. I'd love to hear your thoughts on my presentation about ATP. By the way, sorry, Sue, I'm gonna try to get you in just 1 second. It's so hard. I've got chat going off on me. I got a bunch of people asking questions. No. You're good. This is great. I just feel bad that I'm neglecting people. So that's all I'm asking is forgiveness on that. So we could talk about ATP synthase. Also, I would say there's a guy by the name of John D. Farrow. He wrote a book called The Cosmological Anthropic Principle, where he puts the odds of the human genome evolving within 4.6 billion years, somewhere between 4 to the negative 180th power to the 110,000th power, and 4 to the negative 360th power to the 110,000th power. For some I know that's like wah 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 for most people, but I'd say this, like all the atoms, like look outside in the stars in the sky, right? All the atoms in the stars, that's a representation of the real night sky. All of the atoms in the night sky, all the atoms in the entire visible universe, the number of atoms is only 10 to the 89th power. So it's orders of magnitude more probable that you would select a single atom at random in the entire universe, and that be the one hold on one second. Okay, I think we. Okay, that's a block. Hold on. Okay, did I get him? Oh boy. Hold on. One second, guys. Sorry, we got some trolls coming in here causing problems. Give me 1 second. And I think they crashed us. Oh, let's see. Well, we'll see. All right. Yeah, I think I'm getting crashed. Let's see. Do we have inbound audio muted? I hope it's muted at this point. Goodness. Yes, good. It's inbound is muted. So good. I was able to block that guy from saying what he was saying on the stream. Oh, am I alive? I'm alive. Wow. Okay. Anyways. Okay. So I think somebody's still dropping. Oh, I have to get Miss Moon here. Hold on. Social in the room. Miss Moon. Block. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, 1 second. Sorry. I'm trying to get everything situated back here. Yeah, thanks to us. Appreciate your grace, bro. Appreciate your grace. Okay, so what were we talking about? Okay, so we were talking about the odds of the human genome evolving within 4.6 billion years. Yeah, sure. And so I would say, like, when you look at that, whatever the inverse of 4 to the negative 180th power to the 110,000th power is, that's how probable it is we're here with intention, right? Like, because I think randomness is just, it's untenable in my opinion. So when you look at those kinds of improbabilities. Yeah. Yeah. I love science. Yeah. Well, Yeah, no, I mean, I think, I'm not against that. I love science. Like I said, I'm a man of science. My favorite video game, one of my favorite video games is Kerbal Space Program, right? I'm fascinated by SpaceX, so yeah, I would consider myself, a man of science. So I think, but that being said, I think what I'm leery of is that every theory, no matter how absurd, is tenable so long as you don't talk about God. Like we were just talking about the Gesertgesagt. Are you familiar with that YouTube channel, Gesertgesagt or whatever it's called? Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. And there's this. Did you see the one with the egg? Did you see the egg video? Okay. Yeah. See, here's the thing, Tycho. Like Tycho, listen. Yeah, but here's the thing, Tycho. But here's the thing, bro. Like you're willing to accept that, but that is virtually indistinguishable from a deity. I would say it is indistinguishable from a deity. See, like I know, but you'd be much more willing to accept that reality than the idea that like the Christian God is true. And so why is that? No? Yeah. Sure. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that's better than militant atheists. So I'm glad, dude. Tycho, I've really enjoyed this conversation, boss. I'm gonna send him for request. Yeah. Oh, let me undo that, Fallen Star. Sorry, Fallen Star. I had to mute inbound audio because we had some people doing stupid stuff.
No.
Saying all sorts of nasty stuff, trying to get me banned on Twitch. So I had to mute inbound audio. Thanks for telling me.
Not to be mean or anything, but actually genuinely see what people feel. Actually, I have an anthropology degree. So if there's one thing I love is talking to people about what they believe, what they like, what they know.
Yeah. No doubt.
And, through the regurgitation, I can actually use it and hopefully become a better person.
Yeah.
From learning more about the world.
Sure. No doubt.
Hey, I have a quick question.
Yeah, boss. Oh, yeah, Stretchers. Finally, we can get to your question. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, boss, please.
So it's kind of like I'm going to tell you something that happened.
I'll get to your question next, Suicide. Sorry about that.
And I want to know if I should be concerned or not, okay?
Okay, fire away.
So, people have dreams and stuff, right? And I don't know if that's something. It's just like a dream or whatever. I don't know. It might be called a nightmare in some people's eyes. But, like, I was raised on a religion, okay?
Yeah.
And I had a dream one time where I was, like, I don't want to say I was with Satan, but I was, like, in, like, some demon type thing.
Yeah.
And they told me, like, I could get whatever I wanted. And at the time, I just wanted to be, like, numb of death. Like, I deal with, like, a lot of death, family, friends, whatever. And I told them that, and they just said, like, I have to, like, be with them type of deal.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fadey and stuff. But, like, ever since that day, like, I don't feel like death. Like, it's not that I'm heartless. Like, I do care about people at times, but, like, I don't feel anything when, like, people die anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel like it goes back on that dream, and I'm wondering, did I just, like, sell my soul to Satan?
Yeah, great question.
Should I go get rebaptized? What the fuck should I do?
Yeah. So here's the thing is that, like, I would say that, even if someone were to, sell their soul to Satan, that's not something that couldn't be repented of, right? Like if you ask Christ to forgive, that's not some sort of, oh, I'm sorry, stipulation 642, paragraph 9 says once you've sold to Satan, you're out of luck. Sorry about that. Like no, that's not a thing. So I would say, like, if you here's the thing, most of the time you can't sin in a dream, right? Because sin requires choice. Where there is no choice, there is no sin. And so I would say, and most people when they dream, they're on rails. They can't really make choices. And so I would say, you can't really even if you could sell your soul to the devil, you can't do it when you don't have choice. And so I would say, but even if you did have choice, let's say it was a lucid dream and you had choice, again, the answer I would say is Lord, forgive me. And you're not beyond forgiving. You're not beyond redemption. So yeah, that's what I would absolutely say there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go pray. I appreciate what you're doing.
You bet, man. You bet, Stretcher. All right, boss. Take care, man. Thanks for being here. Okay, hold on. Can I get to suicide next? He's posted this twice. I want to make sure I get to this. So what makes God different from old beliefs where we blame things we didn't know on some sort of spiritual figure? I guess that's spiritual figure. Like when we didn't know why the sun rises, we blamed it on chariots pulling the sun over the horizon. But now we obviously know that isn't right. Now we can say how we can say that's any different from, let's say, our brains and saying we have consciousness, we have very little evidence for it, but no hard evidence against it. Yeah, so I would say, again, the fact that we falsely attributed things to God in the past, it's a non sequitur that necessarily has any bearing on the question of does God exist or not, right? Like the question is, what's the evidence for God's existence? And whether that evidence is good or whether that evidence is bad, that's what we fundamentally, attribute to, should we believe in God or not? Or like, take for example, like there were a bunch of really bad Christians that, did a bunch of really bad stuff in various times in the, in history. Just because certain bad Christians did some bad things doesn't mean that Christianity is intrinsically bad, right? So like so I would say, again, it's irrelevant to the question. What is the evidence for God? Is it good evidence? That's what we should base the evidence on, right? Because people have falsely attributed things to God, right? They do that all the time. So yeah.
Switch to Discord. That should be easy.
So so yeah, that's how I'd answer that. Does that make sense? Suicide? Maybe that. I hope that doesn't feel like a dodge. Like I do feel like that's an honest answer to the question. Like, so even if we are falsely attributing things to God, that wouldn't necessarily, like even today, like let's say we're falsely attributing things to God that that we don't need to. That wouldn't necessarily prove that God is wrong, right? You could be wrong on a whole host of things of being of divine origin, but if the arguments still hold water for God's existence, you could look at the Kalam cosmological argument, you look at some of the other arguments I posited this evening. If that stuff holds water, then you still are reasoned in believing in God's existence. So yeah, any other questions? If not, guys, I'm gonna need to wrap this up here soon. Weird. Did something just crash? Weird. That was really weird.
You crashed on this side for a second.
Oh, weird. But it's like weird.
And your mic cut out.
Weird. Like I can't move now. And I can't bring up my Oculus either. My Oculus store. Oh, goodness. And we're crashing. Oh, yeah. We got a crash here. Anyways, well, maybe that's a good time to head out. Are you guys still hearing?